the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Oh, hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys. Three boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Baskell, and I do love a good stick and poke tattoo.
I am John Gilardi, and I am not the John G that raped and murdered your wife.
And I'm Christian Ames, and you better watch out around me because I might spit in your beer and you'll forget about it.
That's right.
Interesting.
Or you won't see it. You won't see it.
No, they
So
saw
what
it.
are we talking about?
But, this week, we are going to be talking about...
I forgot.
Memento.
I already forgot.
We're from the Memory Master, Christopher Nolan. Starring
Right, Memento.
The
Memento.
skinny, sexy Guy Pearce.
Dude, he looks so good.
He looks very skinny.
He's very skinny,
His
but I
hair
like
sucks.
it. It's skinny, but he's sinewy. He's like, I don't know. He definitely worked out, but he didn't eat a lot.
He definitely.
I don't know.
I think that he looks like organic Brad Pitt.
Ooh.
Like
okay. Wait, I already forgot who we're talking about.
Guy Pearce. Right.
So let's explain why.
I'll have
why
to
we're-
tattoo. I'll have to tattoo that on myself. Sorry, I'm gonna stop that bit.
No,
I
no,
promise
keep it
I'm not
going.
gonna keep
Don't
that
ever
bit
stop.
going.
This will be
I'm
the
not
whole
gonna
thing.
Keep it going. I'll bring
So-
it back like 20 minutes later.
Okay.
So I guess first thing, as always, we just jump right into spoilers. So we assume you guys have watched the movie in preparation of this podcast, or that you have already seen it. So that's kind of we're just jumping in. But what's the synopsis here?
So Leonard, aka Skinny Guy Pearce, aka Organic Brad Pitt, has a memory condition that he can't form new memories, and he is trying to find the murderer and rapist named John G of his wife. And he has a bunch of really sick stick and poke tattoos, and sometimes there are people in his life that maybe take advantage of him, or he takes advantage of them. What a crazy world that we have wove.
Yeah, it's a wild movie. So it pretty much is a movie that starts the end and ends at the beginning. I think
I would
it's
say
exactly that.
I would say that it ends in the middle because, like,
Yeah.
it kind of, it ends in the middle of the. Because I was just trying, like, as I was watching this, I was trying to figure out what the act structure was of it, because it's like we definitely end at our end, we begin at our end, and then like throughout the way, there's like three different stories that like all kind of like we slowly draw lines a little bit further and like I don't know, like redraw over the lines a little bit. That's a visual thing, and I'm doing it with my hands, but nobody can see it because this is a podcast.
Yeah, I wish
it's a
I could see
podcast.
what your hands are doing.
I wish I could show you what my hands were doing.
Well, I think it's setting up a lot of things as it's going backwards, and then it all comes together, and what these different branching things, these storylines all come together, and you kind of learned like they're all the same thing essentially. So like it has parallel storytelling as well as just a unique storytelling technique in going backwards. So like it's kind of cool the way it is. So it'll start a scene where he's like frantically running, like, oh my God, I got to remember this. What's going on? And then boom, his memory gets reset and the person walks in the room and the scene plays out. And then they play this little kind of like filler thing where he's recalling this one guy, Sammy Jenkins.
Remember.
Yeah. But then after that little filler, which it's important, then it goes to the scene before where we led up to that frantic thing where he's like, I gotta remember. So like the movie, it's really cool because it's always beginning with the end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Like
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's
also
not like
so
an escape room, but there's a kind of an effect of that. Like you're kind of going layer by layer, figuring new things out, learning new pieces.
Like
in
an
a very-
onion.
Yeah. Like ogres.
I love that because the black and white stuff is the like present, right? And
I
then
don't think so.
The color stuff is.
No.
But it like kind of all like culminates into the same timeline.
Yeah.
But the black and white stuff is... I thought the black and white stuff was the present. He's got all the tats.
No, because he's giving himself as, yeah, here we go. We've done this podcast has been done where people try and figure out Memento, but he's giving himself the drug dealer tattoo. So he's giving himself fact number 6. Or he's giving himself fact number 5 because fact number 6 is the license plate for John G.
Oh.
So that's like, I think that the black and white stuff is the beginning where he's...
Yeah, that's how I understood it as.
Yeah. So that's the beginning.
Well, to be fair, I didn't actually rewatch the movie because I woke up hungover this morning and I just watched a recap, and it's been a couple years since I've watched it. But we'll ignore that little fact. I guess my biggest takeaway is, hey, Christopher Nolan, can you tell a story that's not like super epic and awesome?
Well,
like, can you do anything small, Christopher Nolan?
I mean, I would say that
this
is his smaller. This is his smallest.
This is small, but it's not told in a small way.
But it's still so epic, dude. It's still so like mind blowing. Christopher Nolan is just like, he can't do anything not epic.
I think
that was
he
my
makes
takeaway
movies
from
for
this
himself more than I think that of people, I think he makes movies for himself the most.
Yeah,
you know,
I could feel that. I also, little fun fact, if you guys didn't know this movie was based on a short story his brother wrote.
Yeah, I saw that in the beginning.
They were driving across country, and his brother told him the plot for this for the story. He hadn't even written it yet, and then Christopher Nolan was like, "Dude, that sounds like a fucking chill movie idea." And his brother was like, "I know, right? How about you make a movie, and I'll write a short story. I'll call my short story Memento Mori, I think. Is that what it's called?"
I think that's the thing that you say to the Death Stone.
But that's the name. Haven't either of you guys read the short story?
Memento Mori is...
Oh, I haven't read it.
What?
Well,
Have you guys?
Dude,
neither of you guys read it?
I figured one of you guys
I didn't read it. I didn't
would've
know I
read
was
it.
supposed to read it.
Yeah, dude,
I didn't know the history.
Memento
I watched
Mori.
the movie.
I watched the movie, Christian. Hold on. We
Yeah,
gotta
but I
double back
figured
and
one of you
blast
guys
Christian.
would have read this. Yeah, it's a short. Memento Mori is a short story written by Jonathan Nolan. See?
I'm not doubting it existed.
Yeah, I'm sure that it exists, but this is a podcast about movies.
I know, but I just thought that was cool because I'd love to picture. I just want to see the conversation between the Nolan brothers talking about their brilliant storytelling, and just like, I just want to be there. I want to be a fly on the wall in that conversation.
I would.
It's an interesting place to come up with ideas. I think that's kind of a funny thing that no one really thinks about, is where these things are incepted.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a pun, but plugging that word in there. But
dude, I didn't even think about that when you said that. Fuck, that was brilliant.
But it's funny because, like, obviously the actors have this big star power and godlike way that people hold them. But obviously they're just like people too. They poop and fart.
They do.
But the writers, that the idea people, they're just, where they come up with these things is funny. Like, I know, like a lot of how many movies and stories you love and characters you love were thought up of while someone was pooping. Again, bringing up pooping. But it's just like, it's cool to know where the ideas come from. And I really like that when a movie and a concept can be traced back to that point.
And it's interesting too, because it's like, even as you come up with ideas yourself, and I actually have it in my notes, it's like, how do you write this fucking story? Like, when do you write it? And I'm sure that you shoot it like each section as it is. Like, you wouldn't go back and do it for like continuity stuff, and then you cut it up in editing. But how do you? I don't know, I don't know. I was just like, how do you write this, and then make sure that this is in the right places, like the things.
Probably a lot of
Do you
write
write
treatments and like a lot of planning on the front end, and then I think they went in on the script and that technicality side of it. But there's so many moving pieces and setting that up. It's almost like I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this movie was put together in the edit, where it was filmed kind of normally with some stuff in the camera set up for this kind of reverse reveal format. But I wonder how much of it was done in the editing room in terms of crafting the story.
Like what if, like as they
That's
were
a good
writing
point.
it, because you could just write this like straightforward, and then edit it so that it's cut up, so that it's as how it is in the movie, where it's little bit, take it back, little bit, take it back.
Yeah.
But you have to know, like there's so much pre-planning, because in order to do that and have it play, you have to go and have continuity so that you have those things that show up later, show up in the scene where they show up. Like you can't, I don't know. It's just like telling a story out of order like that, where everything is interwoven. And that's one of the things that's really cool to me about this movie, is how interwoven everybody's character is. And I think by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, so the whole time he's just been wearing this dead guy's clothes and driving around this dead guy's car, and everyone around him is just like, fuck, I guess he won. I guess he got it.
That is true, because like that is also that it ends, or the beginning is the end of another arc.
Yeah.
Of him trying to figure this out.
He's just like, but and also
and why is,
now
so
that
do
he,
you
now that he doesn't
the
have
biggest
Go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No,
Sorry,
no, you go ahead. Hello,
No,
hello. We are the Stinky
I
Popcorn
forgot
Boys.
what I was going to say. Oh my god, we're starting?
We're starting
Wait,
from the beginning.
what
Yeah,
happened?
that was we're
I'm
warming
gonna
up. Now
tattoo
we're
on
gonna start
myself
again.
what I was saying. No,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just gonna say, it brings me to the question: is he guilty or is he not? What do you guys think?
of killing his wife?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't. No. I
What
don't
do you
he did it on
think? Give me an
purpose. I
answer.
think-
Yes or no, both of you. Yes or no? Is he guilty?
is he
I mean,
of involuntary
technically
manslaughter or like murder? Because I think yes, he killed his
of-
wife.
Okay, but okay. So, I guess
let's
to
explain how.
specify murder or manslaughter.
I don't think he murdered her, or I wouldn't put it as murder. It was her
It was unintentional.
having it was her doing a final test. So he has short-term memory loss, but he gives her insulin because she has diabetes, and so he can do that. Like, and if she reminds him, he does it, but he'll forget that he had done it. So she would reset her watch after he gave the insulin, and ask for it again, and so he would do it. And her test was to see, like, there's no way, like, this can't be right. Maybe he'll stop this act when my life's on the line. So she kept resetting the clock and reminding him to give her the medicine until she went into a coma. So he technically did, but she was trying to manipulate the scenario and his condition to
jog him
have
out of
kinda,
it.
Yeah.
The same way that John G, aka Teddy, was trying to like, and I think that's another thing that's interesting too, is like the amount of manipulation and who is doing the manipulation.
Yeah.
That's
Because I interpreted it as he is John G. He raped and murdered his own wife. Maybe she was having an affair. I don't know.
Oh,
But I
wow.
interpreted it as Sammy Jenkins is what he wanted to be. He wanted to be the guy who manslaughtered his wife because he had a condition. But in reality, this whole movie is him burying his guilt of what he did to his wife because he murdered her.
I mean,
He is John G. That's what I took away.
I think that is I think that is on par.
Because he's manipulating himself.
I mean, he absolutely is manipulating himself, especially towards the end. But I think that is like right up there with the best theories since the mom was behind it all and onward. Like that's
Yeah. Dude, and the mom was behind it all.
actually
Yeah,
what if the mom?
I don't know about him being the one that rapes her, but
Well,
and kills her.
I think I do kind of see where you're coming from, where it's like by the time we get to the end, we do kind of see that he is manipulating his own. Like there's a certain amount of maliciousness.
Yeah, well, like the whole plot line, the whole quest of this movie is set off from him being like, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna fuck things up. And so he has little clues that he gives himself. And so while he has this in his current state, he writes down these memories that will lead him on a certain path that are kind of more destructive and bust the manipulation people have been putting him through. So like once he sets that up and he resets his memory resets or fades, he's earnestly trusting himself that this is right. So it's really interesting, and that leads to the question of how many times has he done that?
Yeah. Well, because they've
and
already
how far has he
realized,
strayed?
like, and that's is like how good, like, is there a good person in this movie? Like, is there a good guy? Because Carrie-Anne Moss certainly isn't. I mean,
she takes it pretty chill that he killed her boyfriend.
I mean, I guess so, but she also like goaded this mentally handicapped man into hitting her, and also he hit her, and then she also manipulated him into doing a murder of, like, she aided him in the murder
in murdering of
Teddy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting stuff in this about memory, and there's so much, like, there's that thing where it's like if you have 50 people at an event and you ask them all like what happened at the thing or of a crime or whatever, you'll get like 50 different stories, because memory is like we create it and manipulate it to serve what we saw or what we want to put out.
Memory is wild.
Memory and dreams are wild too.
What does he say
As
about
is time.
Memory is distorted. Nobody can. It's a
He's like talking about facts versus memory.
Yeah.
He's like cops will talk to witnesses, but they'll all say a million different things, So they use those to conclude things. But what drives that is facts, I guess. So that's kind of like
Well, and then that's the same thing too. Is like when he said with Sammy Jenkins, and this kind of like struck for me is like he said with Sammy Jenkins, where it's like he like every time he looked in his eyes, he was like, oh, I see the recognition. I see that he's trying to remember, and it's just like a survival instinct. Because it is like, even at a party, if you forget somebody's name, you're like, I'll keep smiling and nodding, keep talking to them until they're like someone, you figure out a way to figure their name out. And then you never have to acknowledge that you forgot their name, but you always did forget their name.
Yeah. I mean, God, I'm so bad at remembering names.
I'm all right at it. But it is
like whenever I shake a hand with someone and they tell me their name, it's like, I already forgot. Like it just goes right through me.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm committing to the face. Remembering the face is kind of what I'm doing there.
I gotta hear it twice.
Well,
Or
don't
like
you repeat it? Is the trick?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
well,
focusing
in
on
New
repeating
Girl, what's her face? In New Girl, Jess. When she meets someone, she goes, "Hi, you're Patrick." "I'm Patrick." "Oh, Patrick." She has to repeat it like that. It's a cute little bit. I hate that show, but I like that bit. And it's true.
You know
gotta
what?
hear
Zooey
the name
Deschanel.
twice.
I love that show, but I hate that bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
what a twist.
Interesting.
Dude, I hate that show, but I love that Schmidt, dude. I love Schmidt. Schmidt is fucking Schmidt gets me in stitches every time. But I digress.
I hate
Back
that
to,
Schmidt, but I love that Nick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
Oh my
Reset.
god. And here we are again. What are we talking about?
Today we're talking
here
about
with-
Memento.
John G. raped and murdered my wife.
No,
John
Christian.
G.
No more tattoos.
It's pretty
Don't
fitting
mind
how
me.
a movie that's not aimless, it's very structured, but like how like it's just kind of like off the seat of the pants every 5 minutes. How this podcast just so far been like that, just like randomly reset and
Got it. We just gotta get back into it.
Okay, but you guys, we got to think about a twist at the end of the podcast that can really fuck everybody's minds.
So, but what about the part where he's like trying to he's like I need a grip of reality, and then he flashed back and he had that tattoo of I did it or I'm done
Yeah,
on like
I've
the
done
blank
it.
spot.
See, dude, that's what I'm talking
that
about.
just,
He killed his own wife, and
No,
oh,
that was,
no.
That was the confirmation of I finished my quest. I finished the revenge.
But he didn't do that.
Oh.
He doesn't get that tattoo.
Dude, I don't think he was even married to his wife. I think he's making that memory. I think he was the killer.
Okay.
He wasn't even married to her. He just raped and murdered her. I don't
And
know.
then
I'm trying to come up with a crazy theory off the cuff right now. But
The whole twist is that he's Sammy Jenkis's
Story.
He's not Sammy Jenkis, but like that's his story. Is a pretty key thing though that
that's
debunks
too
a lot of your
clean.
theories
that's
here.
Too clean that like, oh, I murdered my diabetic wife because I kept forgetting that I shouldn't give her shot. I think he just killed her. He wants to think he did that.
And he took out, and he was an insurance adjuster, so he took out an insurance policy. Okay, hold on. I'm on board now. Here I am.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, he murdered her.
And
he wants himself to think it was an accident.
He's
just
actually
like Sammy
just such a good.
Wait,
and
is
here's
it
the thing.
Jenkins or Jenkins?
Jenkins.
It's Jenkis.
Oh fuck, Jenkins.
So okay,
Yeah.
hear me out. I'm following Christian's role.
Yeah.
So the whole time he's manipulating Teddy in order to get that $200,000. He is manipulating because he's actually a serial killer, and he's getting permission from this ex-cop. That's also never addressed, but it's not his story, and that's great. But so he's getting like essentially permission from this ex-cop to commit these murders, and he just gets to play out this fantasy where he's a detective, and that's like part of his process for being like a serial killer. And that's kind of where I've got to at this point as I'm making this up as I go. And basically he's the mastermind, and he runs off
dude.
with
But I do think
his
think
wife.
he did genuinely get amnesia. I think he was slammed into a mirror. But he's making himself.
He has those scars on his cheek, the two vertical lines. It's never addressed how he got that.
Yeah, it is.
What was
It's
that?
at the beginning of the first act, or it's at the end of the first act. So, sort of, if you look at this movie, it's got your 3-act structure. So the end of the first act is where he kills Jimmy, Natalie's wife, and then so anything that happens after that point, he has the scritches on his.
Oh,
on his
so he
face.
got that during that.
He got that during
moment.
that fight, during that where he was choking him
that.
out.
It was like I was looking for that every single scene, and I think by the end I just like gave up at that point.
Spaced out.
To look.
Well,
not
and
just to look for
and
that.
it happens so fast that it's like, because then that's our like denouement scene where it's like it's the end of Act 1, but it's really sort of our climax, our end of Act 3 as far as the structure of the story goes.
This is a hard movie to talk about.
Yeah, well,
I'm
because
realizing.
Dude,
you just gotta
like
there's a lot of like, because
for some reason if you've made it this far
yeah,
and you're giving us your best chance, like pause the podcast and go watch the movie and then start this over.
because
but
it is
somewhere-
so intertwined with like storytelling technique, which is something that Christopher Nolan does a lot. That where he's just like, here's how you tell a story. I know how to do it, but this is
Is he British?
not the right
Dude, that's
way.
exactly what he sounds like too. The first time I heard Christopher Nolan talk, I was like, "Oh, of course you sound like
He
that."
sounds
dude.
like a villain.
He
sounds
sound. Yeah, dude, and I would love to think because Christopher Nolan is definitely listening to this podcast right now, and
Probably.
he's sitting by a fire in a mansion, and he's smoking like this elegant, like fucking huge mahogany pipe, and he's listening to all of us, and he's saying, "You're
Yes.
all right, every single one of you,"
He's
because
right.
that's the biggest takeaway from this movie.
He sounds like a spirit. He's like a movie spirit.
He is,
Dude, just
he's the
in
spirit
your
of
head,
storytelling.
have you
Or
heard
he sounds
Christopher
like the
Nolan
cloners.
talk?
No.
Just picture how he talks in your head. That's how he talks. That's exactly how he
The
talks.
reason that we needed to drop, I just felt that the authenticity of dropping an actual plane was just much more doable, and a lot more. The technique and the motion of it is just much more the realism of the time and storytelling make face cover smash.
That is pretty fucking spot on.
That was my impression of him doing an interview about why they needed a entire 747 to blow up
Yeah.
during Tenet, and or
Oh.
You see, it wasn't about the plane. It
Or
was
Dark
about
Knight Rises.
Gotham's reckoning.
he does keep giving Tom Hardy jobs where he can only act with his eyes. Did you guys see? Let's talk about Chris Nolan.
Wait, Jonathan Nolan. Okay, so because his brother does Westworld,
Yeah, buddy.
and I always
Yeah.
see the interviews, and he has an American accent, and then you
What?
guys are saying Christopher Nolan has a British accent. It was really confusing.
Wait,
me.
what?
Wait, what?
But
Jonathan
I guess
Nolan?
Jonathan.
No,
Well, it
they're
says he's
British.
British American.
Oh,
But I don't know. I swear he just sounds like an American dude.
dude, plot twist. They're not even brothers. They're both
I bet
just
they
good
are, but
story
maybe
writers.
maybe one grew up more
okay.
in. It says Christopher Nolan is also British American.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an act. Who's
Oh my god.
Dude, I can't even keep up with the fucking
Holy
Nolans,
shit,
dude.
dude.
God.
All right, how about this? What if they were like parent trapped, and they were born to British parents,
Oh.
and the mom moved to America, and that was Jonathan Nolan, and the dad stayed in Britain, and then when they're 15, they went to film school camp together, and they
Film
made
school
a
camp?
movie about films about this, and every time they're just trying to get back the time that they could have had together.
we should make that a
that's
movie?
So beautiful.
The Nolan brothers.
I'd love to picture the Nolan brothers at like age 12 and they're making like blockbuster hits at film school camp. The camp
wonder-
counselors are like, what the fuck? We can't even keep up with these guys.
I wonder how painful it was for Christopher Nolan to make the Batman movies and not be able to title them one word.
Yeah.
Because
Oh.
he's got
I think-
Memento,
Bat-
Inception, Interstellar.
Wait. Now we got to title each one of the Batman movies with one word. What's the first one?
I think the first one is Begins. Like, you could just drop Batman, and you have Begins
Okay.
and then the bat symbol. And then I think the third one is Rise.
Yep, third one's Rise.
third one?
The middle
Yeah,
one is
second one is-
Joke.
Night.
Darkness.
Smile?
Dark.
A Batman movie called Smile.
Scars.
Maybe
Scars. Scott.
Well,
Ooh,
well,
John,
no,
you
he
got
says
one?
The whole a recurring theme is this dark, like night is darkest before the dawn. So something with darkness or dawn.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay. Here's the thing. All right, the first one is night, and then the second one is darkest, and then the third one is dawn.
Ah.
Look at that.
Dude, but now going
Well,
off alliteration of darkest and dawn, I kind of want to go back and make the first one something with a D.
Dusk. Dick.
Dusk.
Dusk,
Yeah,
dick.
dusk, dark, dawn. Oh fuck! We gotta make our own Batman trilogy.
Here we go. The Dusk Dark Dawn trilogy.
And just very loosely
Dude.
base it off of the already established one.
I'm not even being facetious right now. That's kind of fucking lit. Holy shit!
La, 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 la.
Dusk, dark, dawn. I'm writing this down.
Write it down, dude.
Yeah.
I'll do the
Wait,
artwork
but-
for our comic book series.
But I forgot what I was writing.
Well, one of the interesting
Hello,
things
hello, everybody. We are
Yeah.
the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
Bringing it back full circle.
it's interesting because the Batman Begins is a good name, and then the Dark Knight is a good name, and then I think the Dark Knight Rises was a studio big pressure name.
Well, because it
Like,
tied it to the
I
Dark
don't
Knight.
think. Well, yeah, because it became a franchise and a brand, the Dark Knight. But it really does make me wonder what he would have named it. Non-singular name. What he would have named it if he could have named it without that pressure.
Ooh,
Because
That's
the
interesting.
Dark Knight is such a cool name.
I also think
it's great because
Even-
Sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
Well, I was just thinking, like, even in our game where we're trying to come up with one word, I think you could do Begins, and I think the Dark Knight is the closest that he got to I think The Dark Knight is the closest that he got to his thing because it's such a The Dark Knight. It's like it's not. It's 3 words, but it feels like 1 word. Like because it's one complete thought.
Yeah, it's one. Yeah.
I mean, they're all one complete thought.
He realized the
feels
term of the Dark Knight because Batman has always been called the Dark Knight, but he's never done anything bad. Whereas in the Dark Knight, the whole point of the movie is that Batman will take the blame for the bad guy just to make, just to keep the image of Harvey Dent alive and perfect, And I just love that. He actually realized the Dark Knight rather than just, oh, he's a guy who protects the city and he wears black. He was like, no, he actually has to bear the burden of being a bad guy. There was a lot of B's in there.
Bear the burden of being a bad guy.
Bearing the burden of being the bad guy.
Gonna eat all of your McDonald's French fries.
Ooh.
Go to temple and listen to my rabbi. All right, I'll stop. But no, yeah, I know what you...
Eminem impersonation comes out.
Always does.
Layers.
Every podcast.
Okay, so... I didn't know Insomnia was his too.
I was looking at the
really?
I'm
his
looking at his
filmography or whatever, and that was like one of the only, like he has some very early things,
Like I haven't seen Following.
Yeah, but of his main films, I've seen most of actually all of them, which I was pretty surprised by.
All right.
It's also he doesn't have many films.
He has
but they're all huge. They're all like larger than life.
And that's what I think too, is like kind of goes back to my point where it's like I think he makes the movies that he wants to make.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They just happen to be big. I mean, so rank your fucking rank the Christopher Nolan movies.
All right, let me pull it up.
Yeah, let me see here. Chrissy Nolan film.
Ayo.
Oh, he did Dunkirk. Oh my god, dude. Does he make a bad movie? Is it possible?
So I haven't seen Following the Quay brothers.
I don't think
and
Quay has...
Doodlebug.
I haven't seen
those, and then I haven't seen Insomnia.
I've seen Insomnia.
But besides that, I've seen.
I haven't seen Dunkirk.
I guess we can. I mean, we got
rank the ones
Batmans.
that you know.
We got the 3 Batmans. We got Interstellar. We got Inception, Dunkirk, The Prestige, Memento, Insomnia. Are probably the ones that we can rank from.
I'm ranking mine right now.
Here, I got.
This is a good thing. This is a good thing to do on the podcast, is to think.
I'll come up with our little list. I'm sending you guys I sent you guys his filmography on Letterboxd.
I got his.
Nice and clean.
I got his brought to you.
Oh, nice. I mean, man.
This is
I'll
tough.
go.
Let's just do like top 3.
I'd say
top
Interstellar, or not Interstellar. Inception's my favorite, I think.
Okay.
And then The Dark Knight, and then Memento, I'd say. No, but The Prestige is good. I just haven't watched it recently. It's hard. I actually do not like Dunkirk.
Okay.
Controversial opinion, maybe.
Yeah, let's fight about it.
But I'm a history buff, so I wanted. So Dunkirk was like chaos,
Yeah.
and crowded, and stuff, and the movie's just filmed. It's very isolated and desolate. You have, Bane. God, what's his name? Tom Hardy in the skies. Alone. It's beautifully shot, but like it's very isolating. And you have the beach. The soldiers. They're like, it's very isolating because there's like a huge beach and there's not that many soldiers on it. And then even at the very beginning when they're running through the city of Dunkirk, it's like a nice city and but it's also very empty and not lived in. The movie is so void of, it's just space, and it's such a weird decision to make on a film on a historical event that was chaotic and crowded. And it does have its crowded moments, like on the pier when they're trying to get on the boat and stuff like
on
that.
The boat.
But on the boats. But at large, like it plays with space really weird, and in a historical sense, it doesn't check out. And I don't like that. So that's my thoughts on Dunkirk.
Okay.
I guess I won't watch it. I did
No,
want
it's
to, but
you'd be fine
you
with
just
it.
ruined it.
No, you'd be fine with it.
And
it's
guess
more
what?
just me like a history buff thing.
Christopher
I've got it
Nolan
pretty-
is sitting by his fireplace with his pipe, and he's listening to this podcast, and he's listening to you say that and rip apart Dunkirk, and he's saying, "You know what? He's right." He takes
You're
a puff
all
from his pipe, and then he winks at the camera.
Well, the guy knows
Because there's a camera. There's a camera.
He
in
knows
there.
Dunkirk. He knows what it was like.
He knows what he was
He's
doing.
probably seen. Yeah, it was just a choice he made, and I personally.
I do like
didn't
that.
gel
He's
with
like
me.
he'd be like, "Good job, John. Thank you, thank you, thank you for
Yeah,
that."
he wouldn't be mean.
He would be
He'd
so
be like-
gracious. He'd be like, "That's a good note. I'm not making this movie for you, though. I'm making it
Yeah.
For me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the twist, John.
I'm glad you saw it, though.
Movie was for me all along. All of these movies are for me.
I
Christopher Nolan just watches his own movies. That's it.
his 13 films he's made.
Yeah.
He just watches those.
He's just-
Watches them over and over.
That's
Oh,
how
I
he.
love
That's how he
this
spends
shot.
his whole day. That's how he structured. Instead of time, he's like, "Oh, it's almost Inception. It's almost midpoint through Inception." He wakes up in the morning and watches his shorts. Gotta get my day started to motivate myself. Christian,
man.
you got yours, or you want me to go? I'll go.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna leave Dark Knight out for mine just because Dark Knight is probably my favorite. That's just so good. So I'm gonna say my favorite will probably be The Prestige.
Okay.
I love that movie so much. And then I'm gonna say Inception and then Interstellar.
Okay.
If I'm just doing top three. So
Well,
that's
it's
mine.
like easy to pick the top one or two for you, but then the rest it's like all
They could all
Like-
be like lumped.
it's like a difference of you're splitting hairs at that point. At least
Yeah.
personally, that's how I felt.
And I rewatched Inception recently, and like, oh my god, that movie will never not be good.
That's a movie I'll probably watch every 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes, dude, that movie. I see that movie still being just as good in like 3 centuries. People are still gonna watch that.
It's got so many good moments, and it's got some like. It's got such a good cast, and it feels
and
feels
it's also
Oh, yeah.
just
feels good to watch.
it's
yeah,
such a
it
fun
does.
concept.
There's like
too,
not
'cause
a
it's just,
single
like-
bad moment.
Yeah, well, and just playing around with dreams and stuff. It's like for me personally, that struck a chord because that's so cool. You know,
Mm-hmm.
And I feel
If
like
I
that's
could, if I
something
could
that me
play
and my
with that
brother
kind of
did.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we always thought it was like, oh, it would be so cool if you could go into dreams or go into alternate realities, and it's like he kind of did that, and he like sort of made sense. I think that's something that I like that Christopher Nolan does, where he's like, they never really explain Leonard's like disease. They're just like, I have a memory disease. My memory resets. I can't form new memories, and you just kind of
Yeah.
like, he is.
Absolutely, take it.
Yeah, because he's created the world. The same thing with the dreams. It's like we can go into dreams, and it's not like
Yeah.
how. It's just like we can go into dreams. You have to be asleep to go
Dude.
into somebody's dream, and you can all be connected in dreams.
Going off that, like, I normally hate movies that end ambiguously because it's like, no, just give me an answer. Like, I'm watching a movie, just give me an answer. But Christopher Nolan nails that. Like, he can end a movie and he'll be like, smoking his pipe by his fireplace. But do you really know what happened? And you'll still buy it. You'll still be like, okay, fine, Chris Nolan. I don't know what the fuck you're thinking, but I enjoyed it.
And he says,
does it.
exactly. I'm glad you liked it. But give me my
So,
movie
Patrick-
back. Hello.
Patrick, tell us-
Welcome.
Oh my
to the
god,
Stinky-
what's happening? Patrick, I remember. I tattooed it on myself this time.
Okay.
What are your top Christopher Nolan films?
I've ranked all of them.
Ooh.
All the ones that I've seen. I haven't seen Following, and I haven't seen Doodlebug, I guess. I don't know. I mean, those are shorts. But I put The Dark Knight first because I love that movie. I got Inception second because of the reasons we just talked about. I got Batman Begins third. Dunkirk I have fourth, and then I have Prestige. And again, it's like they're all really close. So it's like putting, like we talked about already. So I've got Dark Knight, Inception, Batman Begins, Dunkirk, The Prestige, Interstellar, The Dark Knight Rises, Insomnia.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's splitting hairs at that point too.
Yeah. I
Dude,
mean,
it's
I was
splitting
also
hairs
really
with all of them.
just disappointed in The Dark Knight Rises, just because.
I've only seen Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises once, where I've seen The
Really?
Dark Knight probably a dozen times.
I
Yeah.
feel like the Batman Begins was on TV. It was on FX like all the time.
Well, I watched it as a kid, and I guess I didn't have the patience. I was like, I want to see Batman do shit. I don't care about training.
John, I know exactly what you mean. Batman Begins was not for like kids.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I didn't
I
see
loved
it.
it,
I
but
didn't see it as a
wasn't
kid
the
and like
Batman
it.
I expected. Like I expected Tim Burton's Batman. Like,
Yeah.
oh, here I come. But it was a lot darker. It was I love Batman Begins. I'm actually kind of insulted that I didn't put that on my list. I insulted
Insulted
myself
with
that I
yourself?
didn't put that.
You're disgusted with
I'm
yourself.
disgusted.
But I
with
know
you.
what you mean, John. Like when that came out, like I was kind of expecting, I mean, what, we were like 14, 15.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more
even
like
younger.
comic booky Batman, and it was the first like kind of dark, dingy comic book character realized.
See, I kind of
Yeah.
went the other way, where I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, this is cool as shit," because I guess it kind of just like checked the boxes for me. I just love that. Like that's one of those movies that I could put on and I have to watch it, and then in the same weird way that I like the first new Star Trek, the 2009 Star Trek, is like I don't know why, but I love that fucking movie. Like
And
That's
after
a
I watched
great
that
movie.
movie, I was just like, I want to get into Star Trek now. Like, I don't know, it like got me jazzed.
Yeah.
I never did.
I never did. I remember I tried to watch the original TV show on YouTube or whatever, and I was like, damn, these fucking episodes are an hour long. Shit, dude.
Yeah, like after I watched with my dad, I was like, "This is so cool! I'm gonna get in all the Star Treks." And he's a nerd himself, and he would always be very accommodating and like supportive. But I could tell he was just like, "Yeah, I don't see that happening." It was basically the vibe he was getting off, because it's just like it was so it's
Yeah.
the core of it's still there, but what made the J.J. Abrams one so cool and flashy and exciting and new, maybe you're not going to find in the TV show, or at least the older ones.
Yeah. I don't know. I just love, like, there's something about that movie. That movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Batman Begins were like movies that were not Guardians of the Galaxy, but they were like on
You
TV.
think Thor Ragnarok?
No. Well, they're like
gotcha.
where it's like once if it's there, I have to watch it. Pirates of the Caribbean was another one where it's just like it's like it makes me happy. It's like if I was in a depressed state, or if you like needed to get me out of a coma, you could play one of those movies, and I'd be like, I have to watch this.
Deep, deep, deep. We've got signals. He's coming back.
Well, if you ever get into a coma,
You guys,
I'll,
everybody knows what to
I'll-
do now.
yeah, that'll be an option.
I've changed my top Christopher Nolan movie.
Okay.
Tenet.
Ooh, yeah.
It's not even out yet, but I know it's going to be the best.
Well, by the time this
because-
podcast comes out, it'll be out. So if we
close to out.
pretend like, no, I think it comes out
Oh.
June 17th. So if we
I
just
am-
edit this into the beginning of the podcast,
I'm doubling down and saying it's going to be the best Chris Nolan film.
well,
I'm looking at the listing on Letterboxd, and I guess I don't know why there's reviews on it, but there's one person, Roberto the person is his name. Meh, doesn't look that great to me.
well done.
Oh, there's so much about that kind of person, and feed like that. That feels like the need to express that. Sorry, I just saw that and
I
got
think
like,
there's
That's
an
so
cool,
annoying.
dude.
That's an interesting
dude.
thing that happens, I feel like, with Christopher Nolan movies, because I feel like people like are, because it's almost like a faux intelligentsia, because he just makes like, I don't know, because he doesn't explain stuff, and it's like you can poke holes in it, but it's like at the end of the day, movies are supposed to be fun, and they're supposed to be exploring like a surreal, weird view of something. And
Yeah,
he does it well. It's, I don't know, but people get so
Dude,
mad at
Christopher Nolan is taking such a long drag from his pipe by his fireplace right now and smiling at you so widely.
Thank you,
ear
Patrick.
to
But, and he
ear.
doesn't. He just a little. Huh.
Oh my God. He just gave
Interesting.
you a head nod. He just gave you a head nod.
Thanks, Chris. I'm
What
like
is
blushing.
Because like I've watched it and like it looks like they're playing with. It's playing with time as a concept and like.
So
But
I
how is it explained
having-
in the world of this?
having just seen it because this is coming out and we're playing with time.
And because it came. Yep.
It's about how time can be moved and manipulated, and you can go within time, and you know how like you could do that like in Inception, you could go into dreams, and like this time you can. I'm just trying not to do spoilers. I know exactly what it's about. I just saw it. It's great. I just know that you guys haven't seen it yet because you're still living in June, and and I'm
We're here. We're here
So
on
meta.
June 2nd.
and I'm on June 18th. I'm coming back to the beginning of your story while I'm at the end of mine. And I'm it's good.
Good. It's I'm glad to see Robert Pattinson in more things. I think he got a bad the Twilight stigma, at least in terms of like teenage boys who grew up.
Yes.
I'm also looking at the trailer footage of this, and he could totally play the guy from Resident Evil. What's his name?
Leon?
Yeah, he
Leon?
looks in this trailer.
Leon Kennedy.
Yeah, he looks like Leon Kennedy in this trailer. Like,
Yeah, he could.
he
Dude,
could be
okay.
that'd be super cool to see.
A couple
I love
weeks
Robert
ago,
Pattinson.
my wife and I rewatched Twilight just for shits and gigs. It's so good because it's so bad. It's gloriously bad.
I've only
And
seen
I felt
the first
so
15
bad
minutes.
because Kristen Stewart,
Mhm.
Kristen Stewart,
Kristen
and
Stewart.
Robert Pattinson, they're both such good actors, but you can tell that the script was terrible, the directing was terrible, and I am rooting so hard for Robert Pattinson as Batman. I think he's gonna crush it. I really think he's gonna crush it. I'm hoping he does. So all the
he's so
naysayers
good.
can. Dude,
He has
he's
almost too strong a jawline though,
dude.
for me.
Oh, don't,
Okay.
which is
don't-
like all you
don't
see
get me
in
started
Batman.
on that jawline.
I know. I want him to do well, very much. I like him.
Have you guys seen Good
Uh,
Time?
No.
You guys should watch Good Time. It's on Netflix, I think.
Good time.
It's with him, and it's the Safdie brothers. It doesn't prove that he should be Batman because he's playing a scumbag, but it's just a really fucking good movie. It's like
right.
it's like Uncut
feel like-
Gems, but all happens at one time. So like everything happens chronologically, and like yeah. Anyway, it's good.
Hmm.
Do you guys want to start the
Nice.
podcast now?
I just feel like, dude, I feel
just
like
guys
Robert
talking movies.
Pattinson's so diverse. He can do so many different things. He's Cedric
I mean,
Diggory.
I've seen Water for Elephants, where he works at a circus
I read that book.
with the guy who's a Nazi in Inglourious Basterds.
Christoph
I always forget
Waltz,
his name.
bruh.
Yep, him.
And Reese Witherspoon, I think, right?
That sounds right. I don't know. Let's want to pivot this to a Robert Pattinson podcast now.
Well, it's a Chris Nolan podcast, so we're still within because he's working. I think I like Chris Nolan. I want that out there in the world because I know that there's some like filmmaker friends of mine who do not like Chris Nolan because of
They're not
what are
filmmakers.
detractors?
They're not filmmakers.
What's like the what's the detraction?
because
from him?
again it's like the thing is like where he doesn't explain and it feels like they're being over the top. They just like if like the faux and like not giving a real ending or conclusion, and I like that because it's like that's how life is it just keeps going,
Yeah.
and we're just
I
seeing
mean,
a moment in time.
I get where they're coming from because, like I mentioned earlier, I typically just hate ambiguous endings because it's like, come on, like, I'm here to watch a story. I'm here to escape. Like, don't give me a question at the end. Like, I want a concrete answer. But I feel like he knows how to do it. I just think he does.
Well,
The
I think
thing
it
that
just comes down
annoys
to
me
that
the most
age-old-
is that all his movies are good. It's like, dude, make one bad movie. Just make
I
a
would
bad
argue-
movie.
It's not bad, but Dark Knight Rises could definitely take that spot.
But
but
it's
that's
still
also-
good.
That's
It's
also the
still-
most
it's-
most
It's
most
not-
like company movie. Sorry, Christian.
Yeah, well,
No,
for that
yeah.
reason is that it has the least of his, or has, I don't know. I'm curious how much he was okay with that. He's just like, whatever, it's a paycheck. Let me get this and then start making what I want.
I mean, it's got to be
Yeah.
hard when kind of like in the Rise of Skywalker, where it's like you have this story that you want to tell, and like you have a fucking person who does a great performance in Heath Ledger, and then it goes away, and like you have like this emotional journey where you're like creating this character, and you're like, oh fuck yeah, the Dark Knight is dope. I have this whole thing I'm gonna set up, and I'm gonna bring this story to a close. And then, like, your friend and the person you've worked with for, like, 6 months dies. And then it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Was the plan to bring the Joker back?
He was going to be in it. I mean, again, I think that it died, like, he died, like, he died January.
Like a year after?
No, he
Dark
died
Knight?
before it came out.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Oh,
That's part of like. It's not why it got so much attention, but
that's
it was
part
also a
of it.
big. It was a
It was a
combination
great
of he
movie.
died. This is his final movie, and he fucking crushed it.
Yeah.
So it was like.
And he does fucking
And-
crush it.
So it's
Oh,
like this.
dude.
Not. I don't mean to be callous when I say it. It was like a perfect storm of like. A way to like. I mean, it was a great movie.
Yeah. No,
The
no.
timing of his death.
Well, plus
and
we
he
could
did
do a whole
great. So it's just,
podcast
like,
about the
a
whole
lot of
summer
stuff.
of 2008.
What else is it? What else is?
I mean, Indiana Jones, Crystal Skull, Iron Man,
The shooting.
the Tropic Thunder, the shooting. What?
Yeah, the
when
and
Dark Knight
Aurora.
came out.
No, that was Dark Knight Rises, bros. Right?
Oh, it was?
Yeah, that was 2012. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, never mind.
He did it.
Sorry.
He did it inspired by, and that's why we don't have midnight showings
Oh.
anymore. Really.
Yeah, goes
Yeah, it
without
was
saying, fuck
2012.
that guy. But yeah, Tropic Thunder was 2008. Getting back to a
Yeah.
happy note.
Ooh, let's
Oh.
do a 2008 podcast.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Ooh, there are
the
a
summer
lot
of
of good
2008 is like the one of the summers 2008 movie releases.
Hey, I mean,
Awesome.
even just 2 or 3 of those is good enough for me.
The Dark Knight,
uh,
Incredible Hulk, Wanted.
Was that
Iron
Edward
Man.
Norton? Hulk?
Yeah, it had to be. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no other Hulk
Yeah.
movie
There's a
Uh,
couple.
in
Tropic
terms of
Thunder.
recent memory.
Hancock, Pineapple
Oh, God,
Express,
Oh, Pineapple Express,
Quantum
one of my
of
all-time favorite
Solace.
films.
Role Models.
So there's a lot to talk about. Maybe we could do maybe make it a podcast series where we
What's the best
literally
year of movies?
just do like a 10 episode stretch where we pick a 2008 summer movie.
yeah.
Maybe we pick the best 10 that we agree on or something. I don't know. But as we stand here planning our podcast on this podcast about Memento, I guess final thoughts. What do you think of the movie? If you had to like, was there anything you'd fix? Did you like it? I guess kind of go down the line and be a good way to wrap this up.
I forgot what movie we were talking about.
Hello, everyone. We are the.
Let me check my tattoos. Let me take my shirt off here. Oh, Memento. Christopher Nolan smoking a pipe, watches his own movies. Oh my God. What am I going to say?
It's all here.
I guess my biggest takeaway, fuck.
That you
I
should
don't know.
watch the movie.
Yeah.
Watch the movie. But everybody's seen it. If you're listening to this and you've made it this far and you haven't watched Memento, you're an idiot. And you should have
Whoa.
watched it. So just go watch it. Watch any Christopher Nolan movie. They're incredible. And
So what are your thoughts on
don't know.
Memento?
it's so good.
Cool.
I
I don't get. I just want. My biggest takeaway is I just want Christopher Nolan to make one bad movie. That's just one. Just one that we can shit on. One that we
Nolan
can rip apart.
He's in the corner. He's in the corner with his pipe. He's like, well, maybe
he takes the pipe from his hand and he uses it to gesture towards you, and he says, he has his elbow resting on his elbow rest as he gestures his pipe from his mouth, kind of like towards you, and he says, "Challenge accepted."
Challenge accepted.
Without saying it though, that gesture says it all.
Yeah, he just looks
dude,
you in the eyes.
I know John ripped apart Dunkirk, but I'm sure Dunkirk is still like good.
Oh, I mean, I get it why people like it. It just isn't for me.
I like it a lot.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad film. I'm just saying I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's
all I want. I just want Christopher Nolan to, before he dies, just make one movie that's objectively bad. So I get that's it. That's all I have
I'll
to say.
see you in hell.
Okay, Han Solo.
So I like Memento. It was a fun movie to watch. It's a fun ride in terms of I felt like an escape room. If you've ever been to an escape room, you kind of go from clue to clue and it builds on each other sequentially. And in essence, you kind of felt that like you're building upon the movie, and clue by clue, you're learning new things consistently throughout the whole thing. So it's there's always something new. There's always new information to grab. The mystery is continually being unraveled, and it's a fascinating and fun ride, and not a typical movie. It's not a typical experience you would watch, or the storytelling format. So it's fresh as well. And I mean, obviously, I think at this point we're talking to people who have only seen the movie, so it's hard for me to like, oh yeah, go out and see it. But I think it's worthwhile to recommend to people, and I think it's something everyone should see if you like pictures, like moving pictures.
If you like them films.
Yep.
I would say my sort of closing thought is Guy Pearce does a really good job in this. I mean, and I think, everyone does a good job, but it's a hard thing as an actor to play each scene like it's the beginning of the scene. And it's like he has a fun job where he has to play catch up within the scene and also learn information, because it's a hard scene where it's an introduction, because you spend so much of that time doing expositional and like repetitive, like, hey, what's up? What's your name? Why should I care about you? And it's just interesting. I don't know. It's just a good thing of storytelling, and he does a good job of portraying this part of someone who is a slave to his disability, but uses it to his advantage and has found a system to make himself get what he wants.
He's not a superhero, but there's definitely elements of him having it's not even a power, but there's definitely like a touch of that. I don't know. Whatever you were just saying, like, made me think he's a superhero.
Yeah.
So Christopher Nolan, listening to this podcast, has had whiskey on the rocks the whole time, and he hasn't taken a single sip. But upon hearing that, he just picked up his glass, gestured at you, Patrick, wherever you are on planet Earth in relation to him, and takes a sip.
Oh, he's right. Oh my gosh, he's really taking a big long drag of that whiskey.
He's licking the rim of the glass too.
He's finished it. He threw the ice behind his shoulder.
Dude,
he's doing push-ups now, guys.
I love that though. Of course our resident director has that input, but that's a really great that's a great analysis of Guy Pearce's performance. I love it.
Where is Guy Pearce's hog though? That's the thing. We saw his butt. He's naked.
All right, hog watch time. It's our segment, Hog Watch.
Where is Guy Pearce's hog?
Dude, I think, not to divert too much, but I think Christopher Nolan has a massive hog.
He's looking at you.
Okay.
He's looking at you. He pushes up from his push-ups, and he's looking at you, and he's like, he just gives you an eye. He just like, why don't you come check? I'm not gonna show it to you because that's not the kind of man I am. But
he's doing cock push-ups.
He is.
Yeah, dude. Dude, and he's so modest about it.
It's just I picture like the Elon Musk stuttering speech pattern.
Well,
to me, that's like
I do have a rather large
massive penis.
member.
Penis.
It's about 6 inches soft.
You know
and
what'll be
I'm a
wacky
grower too, so you know
is
it
when
only
the
gets
Elon
bigger.
Musk biopic is made.
Who plays Elon
That'll be
Musk?
interesting.
Tom
When
Cruise?
is that gonna
probably-
happen?
He's still too young.
Yeah.
Dude, how
mean,
sick would it be if Elon
he'd probably
Musk
be towards the
starred
end
as
of our
Elon
lives.
Musk in his biopic?
Or what if
Elon Musk creates a clone.
Robert Downey Jr. did,
Oh.
Ooh.
just to keep it going with the Iron Man being based off Elon Musk?
Yeah, but see,
I will say,
RBJ has way too much.
Ooh.
Or wait,
RBJ?
wait,
Ruth Bader Jr.? Robert Bader Jr.?
RDJ has way too much swag to play Elon. Elon's got swag, but he's kind of awkward.
He's got nerd
let's
swag.
make it.
Yo,
Let's do Jesse Eisenberg or Michael Cera.
that's what I was about to say. I just rewatched The Social
Dude.
Network.
Michael Cera.
I just rewatched The Social Network.
For some reason, I just
Oh.
pictured Michael Cera playing Trump in a parody.
Oh, that'd be
I don't
great.
know. For some reason, that just seems
Hey,
really
guys,
funny, like
it's
a good
fucking-
combo.
Hey, it's me, Donald Trump.
I'm a piece of shit. And I love pissing on myself. I do it all the time. Well, shall we end on that note?
Yeah. All right. Good day, Mr. Nolan. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Nolan. You can go back to your to watching. Where are you in the day? Yes, I'm watching Interstellar now. Okay, I'll talk to you later, dude.
All right. Enjoy.
I will. Let me know
I'm
if
so
you want me back
I'm
again.
so excited to see how it ends.
But the thing is the end is really the beginning of another story. Okay, Chris. Maybe you need to cut back on the whiskey. Make sure you guys hit us up on Twitter at the Stinky Podcast at Stinky_podcast, and tell us what we should watch next. Pitch us your movie. Tell us your favorite movie. Tell
Send
us
us screenplays to read.
Yeah.
Send us some weird fan fiction. I want to get good Joker Batman fan fiction that we can read the screenplay of.
Oh, yes. We got to do that.
Or Chris Nolan fan fiction, like of his just
Ooh.
his
That
everyday
too.
life.
Even
Stinky
better.
Popcorn Boy hybrid Christopher Nolan fan fiction. Maybe I'll write it
Ooh.
for you guys to read.
But you'll post
I'll
it.
do
You'll
the stage direction.
You'll post it under. Yes. Okay. Do that. We'll do that for next week.
All right. And we don't know what we're watching next week, but stay tuned on the Twitter and we'll announce it so you can watch it and be along for the ride.
And rate and review
Correct.
this stinky podcast.
Yes, please review
Rate it
and
5
rate.
stars. Give it a good review. Be nice.
And yeah,
And
stay safe out there, guys, and keep watching movies, as we always say.
yes,
Keep
please
watching movies.
keep watching. As they say in motels everywhere. Is this your drug car?